Ready? Stand by. Good afternoon. This is the Thurston County Board of Commissioners. I'm Commissioner Bud Blake, the chair of the board this year, and this is Tuesday, January 31st, 2017. I'd like to get things started by doing introductions. To my left is Commissioner Edwards. To my right is Commissioner Hutchings. To his right is Labanita Bomar, the clerk of the board. And to her right is the interim county manager, Ramiro Chavez. And to his right is the budget manager and assistant county manager, Robin Campbell. And to her right is Jane Futteran, our deputy prosecuting attorney. With that in mind, I'll ask Vice Chair Hutchings to give us the conduct us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand. Barbara, would you please lead us in the pledge?
No, I won't.
Eddie, please. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Always have a plan B.
All righty. With that in mind, I'll ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the agenda.
I'll second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda for Tuesday, January 31st, 2017. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. The board minutes for January 24th, 2017. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the board meeting minutes from January 24th, 2017 and January 26th, 2017.
Correction, you're right.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the board meeting minutes for January 24th, 2017 and January 26th, 2017. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. And I'll accept the work session summaries from January 17th, 2017. So the next item we have on our agenda for today is the opportunity for the public to address the board. And with that in mind, I have a list, the sign-up sheet here, and seems that no one's here actually to sign up. We have one person who's here to listen, but not to testify. So with that in mind, I'll just call out to the public and see if there's anybody. No? All right. So we'll move on to our next item, which is the county manager's update. And with that, I'll call on Mr. Chavez.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'd just like to follow up on a testimony that you received on January 10th here at the board meeting from Ms. Teresa Hayden. And just to refresh your memory, her comment was that her parents, which are elderly, in just about in their 80s, they were planning to do an addition to their home of about 200 square feet. And they purchased this property back in 2015. And through the process, they realized that this particular property does not meet their needs in terms of the handicap needs. So her request to you, it was to look into the requirements related to a wetland boundary. This particular addition of 200 square feet will have an effect on their property. So I'd like to report Mr. Hayden was given a permit to go ahead and build a 200 square feet addition to her parents' house on the residence, and that permit was issued January 27, 2017, just last week. And in fact, there was a small encroachment to the wetland buffer as proposed of this addition. However, the staff approved this addition with on the premise of a reasonable accommodation pursuant to the Americans with Disability Act and for housing and the Housing Act. So Mr. Hayden, however, agreed to provide a small mitigation by planting some shrubs so in the reduced buffer area. I'd like to report that this issue has been closed and addressed.
That's very good. I'm glad we were able to respond to that situation with Tenino, and it just resolves a whole lot of other issues down there too. So, Any comments?
No, thank you very much, Sal.
Thank you.
Anything else? Anything
Nope,
else?
no, thank you.
Okay. So I'm going to jump back up into the agenda just for a second, and there's, to give the public opportunity to address the board. I was a little premature in announcement, so I'll just ask anybody in the public to, if they want to step forward to the podium.
Oh, look, we have someone.
All righty. And so Labani is going to explain how the 3 minutes works.
We have a green light, well,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
there we go. Our timer begins with a green light that lasts for 2 minutes and 30 seconds. You will then see a yellow light for 30 seconds, and when you see the red light, it means your time is up.
All righty, sir, go ahead.
Thank you, Commissioners. First, before I even get started on this, I just want to thank some response I had from a couple of your people here. They were responding even at late hours at night sometimes to make sure they got to me. Okay, today I'm kind of giving you a little preview of what I have. I'm going to read at the end of the record here. On my way here today, I saw a number of speed limit signs, which brings me to a thought today. Why do we have speed limit laws? Given the slightest amount of thinking, it's to help protect the driver and the public, to keep everyone safe. If followed usually, the driver will not drive too fast and have accidents, and the rest of the public is safer from being victims of accidents. Today I want to address immigration laws. You that know me probably know my wife and son are immigrants from China. The process of going through immigration is not a lot of fun. It takes time, but it provides protection for both them, me, and the public. The life of the undocumented is a life subject to abuses at multiple levels of humanity. You may not realize it, but you may be helping enrich those that exploit illegal aliens through buying and using services that underpay their employees with less than minimum wage. Also, another example, it is common that human trafficking place young teens into prostitution or be turned over to be deported if they do not do as they're required by their pimps. As I understand that you are compassionate individuals and want to protect the less fortunate and that remain undocumented. But in reality, through Thurston County Resolution 15392, you may be hurting them. If you want to help them, perhaps you could start by personally sponsoring one. It means taking financial responsibility for a period of time so that the state does not bear the cost of welfare and Medicaid. I request that you reverse Thurston County Resolution 15392 and follow the laws as our country to help keep both the undocumented and the citizens of Thurston County safer. I provided you all copies of the resolution, portion of Act 274. It's a federal, the INA Act 274, and an article about human trafficking exploitation of illegal aliens. I have really strong concern, and I think one of the things we have to face is you're here to protect the public's interest, to protect how we spend our tax dollars, and certainly not to have us lose money because we've decided we're going to just take a stance. We have a new leader in command. We need to follow the direction, and let's bring everybody into a safe environment.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much. Okay, so the next item we have here is the consent items, and I'll take a motion for the consent items.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve consent items A through E. Alpha through Echo.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt consent items A through E. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. So the next item we have is what we call the department items. And so today we have from the Public Health and Social Services, Sammy Berg. He's going to relay an item to us about Tacoma Pierce County Health Department Interagency Agreement. Hello, Sammy.
Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm going to take just a couple minutes to talk about a renewal of this contract and to also give you some background on this. By state code, all folks that handle food need a food worker's card. And so for many years, the county health department has offered in-person classes downstairs to provide that training and give folks their food worker cards. Starting in 2011, the Pierce County Health Department was successful in creating an online version of this in conjunction with other counties and with the State Department of Health. And then we're generous enough to allow other counties to use this through contract. And basically the way it works is they charge the same fee that you would for in-person classes. It's $10, and that fee's been set by code for at the state level. And so but it provides obviously a greater convenience factor, being able to do these online trainings and testing 24/7 and at your own home. And so basically, Thurston County signed on to this in 2011. We renewed a contract in 2013. And it's time to do that again now this year. Basically, what Pierce County does is they take $3 out of the $10 charge for the card, and that helps cover their infrastructure and programming needs. And the other $7 for each Thurston County resident then comes to us, which we use that money for either helping support our food worker classes in person that we still offer to accommodate people who don't necessarily have access to the internet or find in-person classes easier. And then we also use those funds to deal with things that are still food related but not necessarily permit related. So like following up on a food recall or doing a foodborne illness outbreak where we're not sure who's at fault, if anyone, or what's going on. And so we use those funds to help cover some of those more generic activities. And to give you an example of scope, in 2016, we had just over 12,000 people take the food worker test online, and then that generated about $92,000 for the food program. Actually just talked to a gentleman on Monday who had some questions about how the whole thing worked, and I explained it to him, and he was really appreciative of the fact that he could go online and from home take care of it. Took about an hour, and he had his food worker training, and was just happy that we had that system in place. So in front of you basically is the request to authorize the interim director to renew the contract and continue being able to provide this to the county residents.
Cool.
Are there any questions?
Yeah, any questions,
No,
comments?
thank you very much.
No, sir.
Okay.
I do have a question, sure.
Oh, sure.
2016, you had approximately 12,000 people, and you said online.
Yeah,
And
12,700.
was there another number that were not online in addition to that?
Yeah, we had 400 people take
400.
the class in person.
Okay, that's what I'm asking, in person?
Yeah.
So about 12.
So we're right around 13,000 people
Yeah, yeah.
for the year. Mm-hmm.
And is that an increase or a decrease from 2015 and 2014? I know that's kind of putting you on the spot. I just want to know if it's growing.
Basically, we've seen a gradual increase. Probably about 4 or 5 years ago, we were more around 10,000 range, and we've incrementally come up to now we're right around 13,000. And so, yeah, every year we've seen just a little bit more, just as those more restaurants and more employees needed and whatnot.
Maybe 1% or 2 each year, something like that?
Something along those lines, yeah.
And so the cost of food handlers, is it a permit or?
It's a license.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. But yeah, the cost for the public is $10, and that's set by state statute, and it's been that way since '99.
Since 99?
Yeah.
Okay. And then one last question, sorry.
Yeah.
To go online, is that the best way? Obviously with 12,000, but I mean, how long does it take to fulfill to do the
It takes
test?
about an hour, hour and a half,
Okay.
because as part of the structure, you have to go through the training every time you take the test.
Oh,
So
each time.
it's a good way to refresh, because the code does change occasionally, and it just requires them to go through that and then take the test, pass it, and then get their card.
Pass it. You gotta pass
Yeah,
it.
there's a 75% grade, basically, they have
Okay.
to make
Okay.
in order to get this.
No, I just want the general public to know
Sure.
all this kind of information. Sure, sure.
Okay,
Thank you so
I
much,
do
Sammy.
now.
Oh, so we're gonna do the motion.
Sammy, I have a question now.
sure.
It takes an hour to an hour and a half online. What's it take in person if they come in?
About the same.
About the same? And is it the same price whether it's online or in person? It's $10?
Correct.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
We gotta do a motion. Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the Tacoma Pierce County Health Department Interagency Agreement Number 1059-08 for online food worker training, testing, and card issuance for the duration of January 1, 2017 through December 31, 2021, and authorize the Interim Director of Public Health and Social Services Department to sign the agreement.
Second.
It's been moved in second as stated. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much, Sammy. So the next item we have is the set a public hearing to amend the county code, and I'll call on the interim county manager, Ramiro Chavez, to address it.
Thank you again, Commissioners. The proposed ordinance that is before you to set the public hearing for February 28th will make underage gathering where alcohol beverages and marijuana are rendered to underage person subject to civil infractions. This ordinance will apply to the following definitions in part. A responsible person includes the persons who owns, rents, leases, or otherwise has rights to control property at which an underage gathering takes place. The persons in immediate control of property in which an underage gathering takes place, or the persons who organizes, supervises, sponsors, conducts, allows, controls, or controls access to underage gathering. There's some exceptions for the property who is rented or leased that the landlord does not have, is not participating on these particular gatherings. Also, the definition of underage gathering means a party of gathering knowingly permitted by a responsible person, as described above, or four or more persons at a property at which alcoholic beverages or marijuana are being consumed or possessed by one or more underage persons, or one or more underage persons are exhibiting effects of consuming alcohol beverages or marijuana. Underage person is defined as a person who is under 21 years of age. And the civil infractions are defined as any person who violates any portions of the Thurston County Code 1040-020 may be subject to a civil infraction pursuant to Chapter 7.80 of the Revised Code of Washington. Civil infractions shall be heard and determined according to the to Chapter 7.80 of the Revised Code of Washington as amended, and any applicable court rulings pursuant to 7.80120 Revised Code of Washington. Each person found to have committed a civil infraction shall be assessed a monetary penalty based on the class of the infraction as provided in the Thurston County Code 10.40030. In this particular case, is considered to be a Class 2 infraction based on the Thurston County Code 10.40020. Do you have any questions?
Any questions of the board?
No.
And Rainier is the only city in the county that has such a social host ordinance.
That is my understanding, Commissioner.
Okay. No other questions?
There are other jurisdictions in the country that do, though, right?
Yes, I believe there's many jurisdictions
Yes.
in the country, but perhaps at the county level, this might be the first.
Yeah.
Make a statement or just questions?
I can make a statement if you
I'll make a
want.
statement.
Yeah.
Now, when I was working in the city of Tenino, the city of Rainier had just enacted their social host ordinance. And I had seen some success stories where minors moved their city party out into the county area because of this ordinance in place in Rainier. So it definitely had, at least anecdotally, a positive impact in the city of Rainier. So this puts us in line, at least with that city currently. And in my opinion, this sets the standard for standard of what's appropriate behavior in our county for us, and advises of the public of consequences of supplying drugs or alcohol to minors when it's unauthorized. Obviously, there's sometimes where it is authorized, and so I'm very much in favor of this.
Okay. So is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the, let's see, to set a public hearing
Yep.
for February the 28th, 2017 at 3 p.m. at the Thurston County Courthouse, Building 1 in Room 280, to consider amending Title 10 of the Thurston County Code to add a new chapter related to underage drinking and marijuana use and implementing civil infractions.
I would second that.
It's been moved and seconded as stated. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Okay, so the next item we have on the agenda is for commissioners to report on the boards and sessions and committees they sit in on or things they've been doing in the community. And can I start with you, Mr. Edwards?
I guess instead of a regular report of the instances where I've been going to different trainings and meetings and such, I would just pass on to the public out there that I have a new appreciation for this particular job and those that have held it in the past, and for the staff as well, because it's basically been nonstop since the 1st of January, and I hope it slows down just a little bit.
We're just getting warmed up.
I can get a weekend off, and I'm gonna just let it go at that now.
Okay.
But it's never ending, so. And the staff keeps us organized and headed in the right direction. Thank you very much.
How about you?
I was told I had Tuesdays off.
Okay.
I concur, Commissioner Edwards. I did attend the South County Housing Summit yesterday afternoon, along with Commissioner Blake, down in Tenino, and it was pretty well attended and very informative. I testified on the Hill with Assistant County Manager Robin Campbell on House Bill 1344, the levy lid lift. And I attended, along with Commissioner Edwards, the lot board orientation, 2 hours. Sometime this was yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
They all run together, don't
For
they?
2 hours. No, that was the lot board orientation. I'm sorry, that wasn't with you. With Mike Strube and staff. And then the yesterday morning was the Transportation Benefit District and TRPC orientation with Commissioner Edwards, with Vina Turbot and staff as well. Very enlightening and very helpful, and yet more to come.
Great. So some of the things that I've been doing in the last week, in particular, at the last time we had the Board of County Commissioners meeting here, we had the Yes Vet program, in which I'm absolutely grateful for our Human Resource Director, Katie Gerard, for setting that up. But it really represents how veterans here that work within the county are recognized, at least for a given moment in time, the contributions not only when they were in uniform, but when they're out of uniform, and how we take care of each other in the community and as a family as a whole. We really love every single worker here in the county, but that given moment we were able to recognize the vets that work here, the military veterans. It was about 20, 23, 24, something like that. So it was really, last year it was maybe 5 or 6, so it went to 5 to 20, and then hopefully next year we can increase that volume. So it's super exciting for us here to be able to do that. So on the 26th of January, we conduct our normal annual point-in-time count. And it's super important to know this count, and it only lasts for a day, something like from 9 till 5, but it's a snapshot in time of how we count the homeless and those who are low burden income. If you've never done it, I absolutely ask you to get involved in that. Even for a couple hours, I was only able to break away a couple hours, 2 to 3 hours, but to see all sides of the picture in terms of how we reduce or stop homelessness here in Thurston County. And of course, I picked Olympia downtown. And so one of the questions you asked right up front is, do you have a place to sleep tonight, or did you have one last night? And that would actually constitute how you go forward with the rest of the survey questioning. And obviously, if they have a answer of yes, then you don't go forward. If they do not have a place to sleep tonight or last night, then you proceed forward with the questioning. But it really tells us of all those questions. I'm not going to go through all the questions, but where you slept, how you slept, who you, and all the particulars of that. But it gives us an idea of what's going on there in real time for that moment in time. But what we do with that is then we incorporate that into local plans that we have here with the Housing Action Team, and then we incorporate it into other things such as the 10-year plan, which is going to be finished here this time, say March or April of this year, updating that and turning it into the Department of Commerce. So we have a super great organization here. As I mentioned, the Housing Action Team, which is a red team, a blue team, and a green team. And we look at things such as capital projects, houses that are existing that cause unhealthy homes, that people become ill and then become unemployed. And then we look at the larger scope of strategy with the red team and homelessness as a whole. So I just wanted to update you on that at the point in time. It was super exciting. So the other thing I did out in the community, I gave a update to the county of the county affairs of what's going on to the Thurston County Realtors Board on for some of the things that are going for permitting and the changes we're doing here in the permitting office and some of the other land use issues that they were concerned about. As Commissioner Hutchings mentioned, we did the South County housing, and that particular one right now focuses on Tenino for 2017, and then we expect to expand it to Rainier and Yelm or back over to Rochester in the outgoing years, 2018, 2019, and 2020. But it was well attended, as he mentioned, from the mayor to subject matter expertise to some of the local residents. To give us the input, we're looking to do an assessment right now of what Tenino consists of as far as population, those that are impacted economically, socially, or any other factors that causes homelessness, or those who are one paycheck away, what we call low-income burden. We really want to change the whole attitude and the dynamics of Tenino. We picked Tenino but specifically because of its size and be able to achieve these goals of getting those who are homeless into a home, and so that way that we could put the wraparound services in conjunction with the house and the person and the wraparound services all at one spot to get that quality of life experience that we're looking for. So well attended, and there's more to come. We'll brief you on that as we go along. As well, I've been on the Hill, testified a couple bills to help out intercity transit and some homeless issues. And that's always super exciting to see how that works with our state legislators and here at the local government at the county. So with that in mind, any other comments or questions from either one?
I have another
Sure.
comment, yes.
Follow up, yeah.
Last Friday, in this room, it was standing room only for Sheriff John Snaza when he was here providing his annual award ceremony to his deputies and staff. And he was awarding people certificate of merits for 20 years, 25 years, 30, and 35 years, which is incredible years of service to the county, especially in a profession that tends to beat you up. And it was very enlightening. It was very heartwarming, but exceptionally heartwarming were 3 deputies that were awarded some type of a Valor Award for saving a suicidal woman. And they went far beyond, I think, what typical law enforcement would do in trying to locate this poor woman, and they found her just in the nick of time and saved her life. And it was exceptionally, it just gives you goosebumps if you hear the story and see the 3 men come up and be awarded that. So kudos to our sheriff's department and our sheriff for doing that. It was exceptionally well attended, and the sheriff is back. I have
He's
no
back.
doubt he is back.
Yeah.
I'd like to second that.
All righty. Any other? No. So county manager, a review of the calendar and so forth?
Yeah, let me walk you through the combined calendar that you have for the next week. Again, the appointments are going to be mentioned to you. It will be only when at least 2 commissioners will be in attendance. You may have individual appointments in your individual calendars. Those will not be part of my report. Beginning tomorrow, Wednesday, February the 1st, at 9 in the morning, you have a planning session, and the agenda has been posted to talk over many different items as we move forward. At 11:15, you will have an opportunity to welcome new employees to the county, and that will take just about 15 minutes for you to welcome those new employees. At 2 in the afternoon, you will have yet another budget briefing with Robin Campbell. And then we'll come back on Thursday, February the 2nd, at 9 in the morning for yet another budget briefing with Robin Campbell.
Yay.
And this is a good thing as the county budget is very complex. And I think it's worth just going through that and at least give you the opportunity to look from your perspective, some opportunities. At 10 in the morning tomorrow, we have on Thursday, February 2nd, we have a commissioners check-in, and the agenda will be posted tomorrow morning. At 12:30 to 1:30, you have a briefing from the Veterans Hub, representatives that is within the city of Lacey.
Yes.
1:30 in the afternoon, you will have a briefing on the Office of Public Defense, and this is a follow-up to a previous briefing that you received 2 weeks ago, I believe. At 3 in the afternoon, you will have a briefing on, let me back up, at 2 in the afternoon, you will have a briefing on the comprehensive plan update and some of the steps that we need to take. 3 in the afternoon, you have a briefing on the development code docket, where you will be able to prioritize as to what stuff needs to be concentrating this year. And 4 in the afternoon, yet another budget
More
briefing
budget?
for
Okay.
your enjoyment. And Friday the 3rd, there is the Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Organization legislative discussion, and that is at 10:45, and Commissioner Blake, Commissioner Hutchins will be attending that. Moving on to next week, Monday, February the 6th, at 8 in the morning, you will have a briefing on the interim permitting process related to the Pocket Gopher review. And at 9 in the morning on Monday, you will have yet another budget briefing. And at 10 on Monday, February the 6th, you will have a meeting with the Board of Equalization. And then that will take us to next Tuesday, February the 7th. We'll be coming back here and do it all over again.
And it doesn't stop.
No breaks in there.
All righty. Any other comments, questions, concerns from anybody?
I have one final
Sure.
comment.
Go ahead.
I'd like to thank Jane Futterman for being the stunt double for Elizabeth Petrich today. Appreciate you standing in for her. Thank you. Very kindly.
All righty. With that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman, I move to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn the Board of County Commissioners meeting for January 31st, 2017. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We are adjourned.